Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Logistics Lounge, episode 3. Today with Lindsay Hansel, founder and CEO of First Class Recruiting. Hey Lindsay, welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's start with a brief introduction. I think most people know me as a founder and podcast host for the Logistics Lounge. As well, I'm an executive at Ada International. So today, as I said, with Lindsay, I think really interesting episode, especially with Lindsay's background with her military service. Thanks for your service, Lindsay. And then getting her MBA and founding of First Class Recruiting. So let us know a little bit about you, please.
Yeah, so I'm Lindsay Hansel, and I am the founder of First Class Recruiting. I served in the military. I served 6 years in the military in bioengineering. It was a great experience. I did that in my early 20s. I founded First Class Recruiting about 9.5 years ago, and we are a boutique recruiting firm, and we specialize in manufacturing, aerospace, and defense. We are direct hire, so a lot of professional and executive roles is pretty much what we fill. We have a large request from our clients for seasoned technical engineers. There seems to be a shortage right now of people with that skill set and that knowledge base. So we have a lot of clients that really need seasoned, good engineers. And we also fill positions such as general manager, plant manager roles, VP roles. We really work throughout the organization from professional all the way up to CEO as far as filling roles. And the industries, like I said, again, are aerospace, manufacturing, and defense.
Yeah, I found it and still find it really exciting what you already explained to me, how you and your team handle the recruiting side. A little bit different than what we do as Ada, right? We do the staff augmentation, put our people in for not only short term, we have as well long term assignments, 12 months, but mainly not the concept you are doing with hire. So I think that fits really good together. I think we have some things where we really oversight our projects and our things, but overall completely different sides. So I'm really interesting to see and hear more about how you and your team handle things. So let us know a little bit, if you like, about the military service to the entrepreneurship. So your transition, Lindsay's transition from the military to the corporate world. How was that?
Yeah. So, like I said, I served 6 years in the military, lived in several different areas. It was a great experience. For me, when I actually exited the military, I was still in college. So I was working on my MBA, and I actually took a job in finance. So when I was in the Air Force, I was in bioengineering, which is a little more on the technical side, and I worked in an office full of engineers. And then when I transitioned out of the military, I worked in an office full of people in finance. So, I went from one industry to the other. And I think the military really taught me discipline. I worked with I had some very smart people in my office. I was young. I went in the military right out of high school. So I was working on my bachelor's degree while I was in the military. I worked with some really accomplished, smart people. I had some great mentors as well. So the transition from the military to the civilian sector, I think it was a pretty smooth transition for me, because I did 6 years, and in 6 years was just enough to give me a little taste of, working in an office setting and, adapting and having a schedule. It was a really great decision for me. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I started out right out of the gate. going into the Air Force, being exposed to new opportunities, great people, and then from there going, entering into the civilian sector and finishing my MBA.
Yep. I believe that. I never had not the chance, but I never took the opportunity to go into the German military. Somehow I was exactly the age where they changed our mandatory military service to non-mandatory, and I made too much money in my job to say, okay, I go back for, I'm not sure, a tenth possible of the money I am making. But I had some really good interactions with the US military in Bremerhaven, where I worked. Was a main port in Europe, where the US was sending all the equipment to Middle East. So that's some quite interesting, topics we have seen.
Yeah.
So what was really some key lessons from your military background that shaped your entrepreneurial journey? I mean, I know some people that came out of the military and founded their own companies, most likely really successful. So what was your key takeaways?
Yeah, for me, I think the military was a great foundation. I was young, I didn't have a lot of work experience. I maybe had a year and a half of work experience when I went into the military. So it laid the foundation for discipline, for being mission focused, because when you're in the military, everything is about the mission, right? So everybody I worked around, we were all very mission focused. It really gives you the skills you need to work with a diverse group of people as well. You don't really get to pick your colleagues or your boss. You're just, you're in an office setting and people are from all over the place. So you really learn how to collaborate well, communicate well, and work with a diverse group of people, right out of the gate. So I think that definitely set me up for entrepreneurship, because being an entrepreneur, you also need to be able to be adaptable, persistent, disciplined, and really, be able to change in any situation you're put in, to adapt. And, because even in my business, we work with so many different people, different roles, different skill sets, whether that's from the customer side or maybe that's even from the candidate side. Everybody is different and has different perspectives and objectives and knowledge, and being able to relate to all of those types of personalities is definitely a skill set.
Yeah, I really can second mission focus. Something I always really appreciated working with people, and like you said, adaptability. I think it's an important topic in our business. It's good to have a mission, it's good to have a plan, but if you're not able to adapt, if some key points are changing, most likely you get stuck or you came to the wrong results. Yeah. So I don't like normally to ask it, but were there really any challenges faced as a woman? I mean, I personally don't think there should, but possible in the recruiting industry, especially 10 years ago, it was, I'm not sure how it was in the US, but in Germany, it was at least more manly based. Unfortunately, happily, that changed. Have you got any challenging? So how was that coming?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because not only am I a woman in recruiting, I'm also a woman in a male-dominated industry.
I don't like to say it, yeah.
Yeah, manufacturing, aerospace, defense is male-dominated. And I will tell you, I don't see it as a challenge by any means. I actually see it as an advantage.
Yep.
Because for a couple reasons. One, the military background, a lot of my clients and customers are prior military. I would say probably 80% of them, 75 to 80% of them served in the military in some capacity. whether that's in another country, the German military, or, they served in the US military. A lot of them have a military background. So I think that's a great connecting point for us, and it does lend some credibility when you walk in and you meet with somebody and you're female and you say, I served in the military as well. There's some automatic credibility there. So as far as being challenged, being a female and recruiting in a male-dominated industry, for me personally, I haven't really experienced that. I mean, like I said, I think there's actually more advantages than disadvantages. And another thing too, if you meet with other men all the time and then you have the opportunity to work with a woman, it's a nice change of pace. Yep. Because we bring a different way of thinking to the table. We might approach things a little different. So sometimes that's a breath of fresh air for some of my clients and some of my candidates.
I can agree to that. I mean, we're from AW as well, women owned and managed. 85% our owner is women, so we have 3 women in executive management. I'm the only male.
Oh, so are there any challenges with that?
Quite frank, not for me. I happily grew up in an environment and in a family where we never have seen any differences, not in race, not between women and men. It's growing up in the 80s, early 90s in Germany, I think was really a blessing in a lot of things. We don't have a lot of crime. We were able to go by foot to the school. We had people from different countries like Poland, Turkey, that was fully integrated. I happily have never and hope will never see these differences. So
yes,
the only thing I'm always was wondering, and possible I am still, the women was always smarter in school.
Yes.
Not everything, but in general, right? And then you step into the work world in the mid of the 90s and you see that nearly every position leadership was a male. I never understood really why. So normally the smart people should get the seats, right? But happily it changed.
Yeah.
I mean, what have inspired you really to start your own company, and especially a recruiting company? So
I actually had worked for other companies. Out of the military, I worked in the finance sector for a couple years. And then when I moved out to South Carolina, is actually when I got into the recruiting industry, and worked in the recruiting industry as an employee for other companies for a couple years. And the last company I worked for, they closed the doors. They decided to close shop and not stay in business. And I had a couple days to make a decision. I could go work for a competitor or I could start my own business. So within those couple of days, I decided that I was going to start my own business. I really hadn't done the research, to be honest with you. I jumped into it and was just told myself, I'm going to make this work. Whatever it takes, I'm going to make this work.
There's a mission focus again.
Yes.
So it was really opportunity based.
Yes.
I like that. A long time I was never mainly an owner. I had my companies in Germany, but it was always more or less side gigs. I was never, I'm not sure, challenged enough or brave enough, or I was too happy in my job to do it as a full-time gig. So I have done around over 23 years with the same company, from my apprenticeship to my move in the US and the other worldwide moves. So have my own company here as well, but I'm not sure. I have a strong feeling to companies where I work for. It's the same with Ada. So Yeah, I really understand it that you say it was good, but now it's the time. And it was the same for me moving my job
Mm-hmm.
back in 2019. It was 6 months before my 40th birthday. And I was really thinking, do you want to do something different? You are happy with your job. Everything is going good, but now it's the time. And I still like my old company. I never was not excited with my old job, but it's something refreshing sometimes to do different.
Yeah.
Mm. So what is really your vision and mission? I mean, you explained it a little bit um, in our introduction round. But what is the mission of first class recruiting um, to your customers?
What is my objective?
Yeah, your vision and mission of your company for first class
Yes.
recruiting.
Yeah. So the vision of the company is, we want to serve our clients. We want to serve our clients the best we can. We want to be their recruiting arm. We want companies to come to us that are struggling. I want them to try this on their own. I want them to try recruiting on their own, and I want them to come to us and say, I have a problem and I want you to solve my problem. And at that point, we want to step in and we want to be the recruiting partner, the number one recruiting partner for our customers and our clients. We want to customize our approach for our clients. We want to meet them, be a good fit and meet them where their culture is, and also find like-minded team players for them as well that can really help them grow and scale and become the company that they really want to become.
Yeah. I like the culture approach. That's for us and for me in my leadership role always a really important thing. You can possibly get the smartest person on the planet, but if it's not fit in the culture, it's not good for the candidate. The same for the customer. So that's I
Yes.
think a really important topic.
Yeah, culture. A lot of times we'll present a candidate and they'll look stellar on paper. They'll look perfect on paper, and they'll go through the interview process, and we'll get the feedback from the customer, from the client, whether that's the hiring manager, the CEO, whomever is part of that interview process, and they will say to us, they have a great resume, they look great on paper, but culturally, they're just not going to be a good fit. And that is so important these days. So important.
Yeah, I mean that's as well what we see a lot. And you mentioned that when we see German companies or European companies coming to the US, it's quite a cultural difference. We have a lot of same things, but there are a lot of difference. And I realized the same when I worked in Asia or South Africa, where South Africa is possible the most closest to Europe, to Germany that I have seen. But cultural differences are so important, and to be aware of it and open-minded to realize it and do the right thing. That's great to really have a partner that understands it and supports company with it, especially in the hiring process.
Yeah. And that's what we do. We really go in, we want to dig deep, we want to understand our customers, we want to ensure that we are providing them with resumes and candidates that are they're really gonna accelerate the scaling process and really just mold and be part of the team and be part of that culture.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we talked about a little bit already what sets you, your company, your team apart, unique services and your approach to recruiting. And let's go back a little bit to the industries, like you said, and roles where they are specialized. And I mean, especially from my experience, defense, aerospace sector, it's really, really something special. We from Ada work together with a company out of Huntsville. I cannot put out the name, but they are producing parts for rockets. Something really new for me. I worked before in the aerospace sector, but the people there, especially the engineers, and I mean it in a positive way, they are relatively special. So how is your experience there?
Yeah. So especially aerospace, because they're very niched out. We work with a lot of clients that are tier one suppliers to some of the big OEMs. And so a lot of times what they're looking for is somebody that has an engineering background, has great communication skills, because this person is actually going to be put on site, probably on a military base. If it's on the military side, if it's on the commercial side, it's a little different. But if they put them on the military side, this person really has to be able to fit in with people that are in the military. So we have a large request for candidates with a strong technical engineering background, but then also great communication skills and the ability to get along and fit in on a military installation. So a lot of times we will recruit veterans, people that have served in the military, because they've been in uniform, and they usually have a very technical background as well.
Yeah, that I'm not sure if you put that as well, or if you realize that. For me, as I say, first I started with logistics and was task force manager. So I hired a lot of people into my teams with operational excellent backgrounds. And then I moved more into the IT sector and was hiring IT specialists, IT programmer roles. It was really a change in the thinking and hiring process. Are you need to sometimes prepare your candidates that they, between their most likely really good technical knowledge, build up some soft skills, interpersonal skills? Are you helping people with that?
We do. Yeah. So our candidates, a lot of times our clients will initially do a Teams call. So we always want to do a call with our candidate prior to them doing a call with our client on Teams, so we can see how they show up. Ensure that their internet connection is good, their camera is good, and also just to give them, some pointers. When you're online and the camera's on, you want to make sure there is no distractions, there's nothing in the background. So we do prepare our candidates, especially for those Teams calls, and also, of course, on site as well. We prepare them. We make recommendations for what to wear, just how to end the interview, how to properly follow up after the interview. So we do talk to our candidates and coach our candidates to ensure that those soft skills are showcased throughout the process.
That's great. Sometimes it's quite a journey to come there, right? So, as I said, our focus is really supply chain consulting and logistics. We do IT as well. We have some service offerings. We have software as a service that we do with partners. Partnership is one of my main focuses. I always like to talk to people, have people in our network. I mean, that's how we came together, right? So at this time, we don't have a direct emphasis from our side on recruiting, but it is important if companies ask us, okay, do you know someone that can help us? We need to find a COO. We need to find a VP finances that we know people that we can bring in contact. That is really why I appreciate it that you take time out talking with me and us today, and really seeing that. And I mean, that is really the synergy, I believe, between us.
Yes.
How it works together. What do you think about it?
No, I think that's great. Yeah, if you have any clients, that need to hire some executives, we're both in the same industries. You guys are heavily in manufacturing, logistics. You do a lot on the project management side. There's definitely a lot of synergy between first class recruiting and ADA for sure. We have a lot of this similar clients and similar customers that we service. I think first class recruiting, I think we would be, a great resource if you do have a client that has some direct hire needs, especially in those executive roles and those highly skilled professional roles as well.
I mean, that brings me really to the next topic, market insights and trends. You already mentioned it shortly. How do you see the recruiting trends in our industry, the current market challenges? I think it is already challenging. I'm not a specialist in recruiting, but I think it's already challenging. And I think with the next 6 to 12 months, what we'll see in growth, I strongly believe we will see growth in the US and possible changes in immigration. How do you see the actual trends recruiting wise, and how will you handle the challenge to provide the best candidates to your customers?
Great question. So just a quick snapshot of the market. 60% of the workforce is under the age of 40. So 60% is Gen Zers and millennials. So the first point I'm going to make is if a corporation understands that and knows that 60% of their workforce has a different value system, they need to do what they need to do to attract that demographic. So as a recruiter, as somebody that is a founder of a recruiting company and is in the trenches day in and day out, it's very important when I talk to my customers and my clients that there needs to be a little bit of adaptability, because I'm going to bring them candidates most likely, because 60% of the population that's looking for jobs is under the age of 40, is going to have a different, value system than maybe they have. So that's the first challenge that I see moving forward. And that number is going to continue to rise. It's 60% right now. We have got so many baby boomers retiring over the next 3 years. And those baby boomers are taking with them all the knowledge, all the expertise, and they're exiting the market. So it's going to be very, very important for companies to ensure that the younger generation has good mentors and is really being coached properly, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be filling those leadership positions. And a lot of companies, I don't think, were prepared for this, and they're promoting people that really aren't ready to be promoted. So I think that is going to be over the next 18 to 24 months. I think a lot of companies are going to face those challenges. And from a recruiting standpoint, it's our job to talk to our clients, talk to our customers, and give them a snapshot of what the market looks like, so that they can also adapt and be a little flexible and maybe create some new training programs or come up with a succession plan so that we can ensure that they have the right people in place when the baby boomers retire.
Yeah, that's a trend we observe as well. That's a really important topic. So, I mean, I'm absolutely home office based. I mean, I'm sitting in our office now, but I'm relatively flexible. Besides, if it's customer work, I like sometimes to work from home. Sometimes I like to escape from home and be in the office. For me personally, it's all about the mix. I like to visit our customer sites, meet with our team. But I think that's with a lot of topics these days. Most people want a hard left or a hard right, a hard front or a hard back. The mix between things is really not anymore there. And that is what I try to explain if I talk to people, or we as a company as well. So
Mhm.
you need to find the middle ground. Yes, home office is great, but we have a lot of workers that need to come into the plant every day. They are the
Mhm.
same like us. So we cannot do all day home office. There needs to be a mix. Um, if you talk, I'm possibly now the older generation, but yeah, we work 60 or 70 hours a week. Yeah, possibly we have. Was that always smart? I don't believe so. But saying I want to work 20 hours a week, yeah, I'm not sure if a half-time work for a full-time salary always is right. At the end of the day, I think depending on the job, it's about getting the right things done.
Yeah,
So,
production,
exactly.
being productive, and ensuring that you know your job well, you're efficient at your job. So I think training is really important too. So, if you have somebody that has finished all their work, maybe they move on to some training modules, because training is going to be essential, especially since we do have that leadership gap, and we're going to have a leadership gap. I think it's important for the younger generation. I know they want to be more efficient. They want to they want to have work-life balance. I know that's their value
Yep.
system and that's what they care about. But I think making training fun and learning fun is going to be a huge piece of that too.
Yes, I can absolutely agree. Training was always a great part, happily, of my journey. My old
Mhm.
company in the same, we put a lot in training.
Mhm.
It gave us a lot of opportunities to grow.
Mhm.
Leadership trainings, the same like technical trainings. We from Ada, interesting side fact, we teach and run a high school training program for
Mhm.
logistics. My
Yeah, that's
colleague
great.
Nadja is doing that. Um, and it's really rewarding to see how you can show people that not everybody needs to go to the university. There are other great
Mhm.
options. Mm, I have done all my university far after my apprenticeship. So
Mhm.
um, it's I think it's great. And like I said, I think it's a lot is about showing people, old, young, middle aged, come together, take the best out of every word, because every word has something good.
Mhm.
And I mean, sometimes now with my mid 40s, I sound like my own parents when I told them, "Oh, you are so old and boring." So that's when I
Yeah.
become that old little bit. I think it's part of growing up, and if we take that into consideration, not only in our private lives, the same in our work life, I think it
Mhm.
opens much more doors and opportunities for everyone. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And I think finding that happy medium or meeting in the middle is really important too. It's important for the baby boomers to understand the Gen Zers and vice versa, because we all work together, we all collaborate. And it's just being respectful of everybody's value systems. And I think if we're all mission focused and we know what the mission is and we know what we're trying to accomplish, um, we can really do anything. And it doesn't matter what generation you come from.
Yeah. I cannot agree more. Um, so growth areas, industry with potential for development. What I and we really see as well in our market and trend analysis that we are doing is a near re and friendshoring sector. I mean, it's bringing business back into the, let's say, Western Hemisphere to
Mhm.
make it easy. I think Europe needs to do the same to get some business back. We was running, I think, quite a good of time on two cheap products. Everybody likes it, but I cannot follow it. We all talk about sustainability. Um, Nothing against Temu, but ordering 10 things on Temu for $1.99 that I keep for 2 weeks and then put it on a landfill is and cannot be a sustainable
Mhm.
process. So from our side, I think really, especially in the retail and small medium business sector, we
Mhm.
will we will see a lot of growth. We will see a lot of opportunities um, of support. We need to optimize processes. And I think the sphere small medium is even a really interesting part for recruiting, because like you said, there are a lot of possible owners or leadership people that will retire in the next 2 to 5 years. What do you think about that?
Do I think there's a lot of leadership opportunities?
Yep. And
Yes,
yep.
I do. I think, Gen Xer, I'm a Gen Xer. I'm in my 40s. So I think Gen Xers, we are really the next generation to take over a lot of these leadership roles, but there's not that many of us.
Yeah.
We make up a very small percentage of the workforce. Hence the reason the younger generation is getting promoted earlier, because there's only so many Gen Xers and there's a lot more millennials and Gen Zers. So I think leadership and preparing the younger generation for leadership should be the focus for every company. Every company. I think mentorship programs are great. I think if you have somebody that has done really stellar in your organization and they have really, like you said, created some great processes, they've really, figured out how to motivate people, I think you make that person a mentor, and when you bring in new people, younger people, they meet with this person once a week, and they have, and they go over, they sit down with them one-on-one with them and talk with them. And maybe they give them some knowledge, some expertise, but then they also ask them what they want to learn about and what they think they need to become a better leader. So I think if corporations and companies, as they want to, as they grow and they scale and they want to keep their leadership team strong and they want to keep people that are, already in the business, it's always easier to promote people from within than to find an outsider. So if you can find some great younger people that stick with your corporation, that understand your culture, those are the people that I feel the leadership team needs to really invest in and really pour into.
Yeah, I can personally relate to it. That is what I try to do. I'm not sure if I always do it 100% perfect, but I try and to work with my team and younger generations, because that is really what made me and brought me where I am today. And when I was in my apprenticeship, I had a supervisor. I still have his voice and his words today in my mind if I get a little too excited about topics. What happened a little more often when I was young. So I had another really good mentor in Germany. I still have good contact with him, where I told him, I think I'm one of the best managers in this company. I work every week 60 hours. I'm so good. And he looked at me and said, hey, Jens, you know what? I only see that you don't get your work done in 40 hours. Something is not right. Completely different perspective. I was thinking about it. And what I have really done wrong, I never transitioned completely from the doer into the managerial role. And I had the same when I moved from a manager role into a senior manager role. It's not about doing, it's about guiding and supporting and laying all the way for people. And that's things, like I said, mentorships it's so important. So I really like that topic.
Yes, I do as well.
Other topic, what we do know more or less today, power of networking. I think I talked with you a little bit about it. Our CEO, president, left the company around 18 months ago. I always said he was the face of Ada, he was the founder, but he is not only one of the best salespeople I know, he's as well really smart, intelligent with other topics, but he is great at networking. I learned so much from him, and now I really see how important it is. It's took me quite some time to adopt. As I say, I'm an engineer like you. I worked a lot IT engineering. When everybody was laughing, I say I'm working in the basement without windows. Like to hide behind my screens or something.
Yes.
But I think the power of networking is really important, and that for everyone. That means not to go out of your comfort zone, but if you are at the conference, be open, have a look, walk around, talk to people, to find your mentor, even possible, or do networking in your own company. It can even be, I think, if, at your lunch break, if you are open and talking to people. I think that's one of the main topics. How you really handle that with your LinkedIn, going to conferences. I mean, I think it's a really important topic and part of your daily business, right?
Yeah, networking is a lot of our sales strategy, you know. At First Class Recruiting, going to attending conferences, attending networking groups, that is 50% of our sales strategy. And it's so important for the exposure for First Class Recruiting, for us to be out and about and attending conferences, for us to meet new people, to learn about the industries that we're niched in, and going to conferences, especially if you go to conferences that are niched in your industries, you really understand the big picture of the industry, which is also very helpful. And it's a great way to meet people that could possibly be referral partners, candidates, and also customers. So networking is so important, and it should be a part of everybody's sales strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can totally agree to it. As I say, it's really what I realized the last 18 months. I try to respond as much as I can to every valid request. What I don't like is this: I send a cold sales email to thousands of people, even with the wrong name or in a totally wrong direction what we are doing as Ada. And I'm not answering. But otherwise, I try to answer. And if people do it good, I think it's worth the 2 minutes or at least 30 seconds to say yes, thanks, but I have no need, because people, like you said, and say it's put a lot of time and effort into it, and want to bring something good. And even if it don't fits today to a company, possible it fits in the next week or in the next month, or something comes out of it. Yep.
Yes, I agree. I think if you can meet somebody face to face, that's never going to go out of style, right? Networking in person is never going to go out of style. I mean, social media is great, and it's great to be on social media and get the exposure from social media, but there's nothing like actually being in person and shaking somebody's hand and, breaking bread, having lunch, having dinner, sitting down with somebody and getting to know them. I think that is always going to be the best form of networking.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's brings me back. I'm not sure really what you have in mind for upcoming events or opportunities where people can meet you, your team from First Class Recruiting. Have you anything already lined up? Any conferences or?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So next month we will actually be at the South Carolina Manufacturing Conference, and that's going to be downtown Greenville. So we will be there. That's the end of February. And we will be part of the B2B matchmaking. So we'll be part of that. And we will also there will be several team members walking around the conference as well.
So that's 25th to 27th of February, right?
Yes.
I will be in Greenville.
Great. Well, I'll see you then. We can grab lunch. It'll be great.
Exactly. So yeah, we from ADAS, we have a relatively full calendar. So we just this month or this year became a AAMA, Alabama Automotive Manufacturers Association corporate partner. It's an organization. It's really close to me. They helped me a lot to grow. We won last year the Supplier of the Year award for service provider.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's there. It's my team,
Great.
our team. So, and there we have March the 20th, we have the Supply Chain Logistics Conference in Huntsville.
Okay.
really interesting. April 25, we have an environmental conference. Interesting thing, it's in Vans. It's a Mercedes Visitor Center that's
Mm-hmm.
opening their gates for us to be there. Like you said, 25 to 27th February, South Carolina Automotive Summit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I only can say to everyone, it's the same we was last year there as well. Attend.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great event, really good organized. I mean, Greenville is a beautiful city. Even that is worth going there. Um, so then we have interesting. Next week is the GAMA, Georgia Automotive Manufacturing Association. Like I said, we have a lot with automotive um, technology and AI summit.
Is that
Um,
Gamma? It's
that's
Gamma.
GAMA, exactly. Yeah, led
Yes.
by Rick Walker, good
We're
friend
a
of.
member of Gamma as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I really appreciate Rick.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah,
doing a great
he's
job.
done a great job with the organization.
Exactly, he's doing really good. Yeah. So and then I'm not sure if you know the AGP American Germany partnership. It's down here in Alabama, so we have our yearly AGP dinner March the 6th. Um,
Yeah.
Great organization managed from Tina Hofmeister. Um, it can as well everybody only tell if you are down here in Alabama, have something to do with American Germany, take a look in it. Great organization,
Yeah,
helping
that sounds
helping us a
great.
lot.
Mhm.
So, mm, but as we said, it brings you back to the topic. Really engage with people,
Mhm.
see what we can do. Um, so what our recap? What our key takeaways from today's great session, our great discussion? Um, please share how to get in touch with you. First class recruiting, you as a person, your team. So
Yeah. So if you want to get in touch with somebody at First Class Recruiting, we're on LinkedIn. We do have a company page, and we check our messages daily on LinkedIn. We also have a website. It's firstclassrecruiting.net. You can also fill out an intake form or call us. Our contact number's on there as well. You can also reach out to me. I'm also on LinkedIn, Lindsay Hansel, MBA, founder of First Class Recruiting. You can find me on LinkedIn. Yeah, please reach out to us. We'd love to meet you, whether you're a candidate looking for a new opportunity or you're a customer, potential customer, and you're really struggling to find the talent you need to scale and grow your company. We'd love to help you do that. So please reach out to us. And thank you for having me, Jens. I really appreciate it. It's been great getting to
absolutely,
know you
thank
better.
you. Yeah, and I mean, come to Greenville, February 25th, 27th, so you can meet us live there.
Yes, I look forward to it.
um, so as I say, from our side, Ada, relevant updates. As I say, we are really growing. We're putting a lot into the and nearshoring sector,
Mhm.
growing outside of automotive like it needs to be. As I say, if you want to beat us, we really have our events coming up. The same like Lindsay said, we are on LinkedIn. I try to be as active and hopefully interesting as I can be. Um, we will put all the relevant information like Lindsay's contact information, first class recruiting as well in our LinkedIn post on our YouTube channel so that you can reach out directly to her. Of course, you can ask me. I will forward your request as well. Um, so yeah, thanks, Lindsay. Thanks everybody for listening in. If there are any questions, any thoughts, please comment, reach out to us. We are always open for collaboration. If you see us again, please come out, say hello. We are both really open for networking. Um, please subscribe, comment, share our podcast, our LinkedIn profiles, follow First Cruise Recruiting or Ada, please, on LinkedIn. It's really helpful for us. Like our post if you like it. If you don't like it, like it. There's no dislike option, so like it, please.
Yeah.
No, Lindsay, again, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. Really look forward to see you end of February in Greenville.
Thank you as well. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure getting to know you better as well. And I look forward to seeing you in person in February.
Thank you so much. Enjoy
Thank
the rest
you.
of your day.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.